So if I tell you a little bit about myself, I'm Australian. I was born in a very small town in central Queensland, a town of 21 people, and I've lived in other towns such as Mackay and Perth, and most recently Singapore. I've been with BHP for a little while now, just on 19 years. I started my time in the coal business, and then I worked in iron ore. So I had a recent significant milestone occur in my life. About 5 months ago, I got engaged. When my partner and I got engaged, we were met with all the usual sorts of congratulations from friends and family. It was often met with comments like, long overdue, it's about time, because it was actually on our 12th anniversary that I proposed to my partner. But even though those kind of comments were passed, and then even if I'd proposed any earlier, the reality is our marriage wouldn't have been recognised, because it's only since the start of this year that marriage equality has actually been legalised in Australia. And to be fair, even here in Singapore, it still wouldn't be recognised. For those that are wondering what's happening, my partner's name is Kevin, which means that yes, I'm the G in LGBT. Yeah, but there was a time actually where I never thought I'd even be having this conversation or telling the story, if I'm honest. Because I think at about the age of 23, maybe 24, I was struggling with a question that most gay people, LGBT people have to answer at some point in their life, and that is, will I or won't I come out? Coming out is a huge milestone in an LGBT person's life, and I think it's different for every person. It's not easy. I think it depends on their belief system, I think where they live, potentially where they're even born, recognising that being gay is illegal still in 70 countries around the world. And it's a very personal thing. I think the when and the how is different for every single person. And generally, by the time an LGBT person is ready to actually come out, they've spent years trying to figure out, why do I feel the way I do? Will my family treat me the same? What will my friends think? I think coming out was I think to this day, still the single hardest thing that I think I've ever had to do. I remember it well. I'd spent, I think, about 6 months prior, 6 months of sleepless nights, just thinking every night, what will my parents think? What will my friends think? Will they treat me differently? What will happen at work? Will this be a career limiting move? And it just got to the point where it was an all-consuming thought process that consumed me for 6 months. And I had so much stress and anxiety that I just decided, what, I can't take this anymore. And I remember sitting on the bathroom floor at 3 AM one night thinking, something has to change. So I made the decision. I decided to come out. I told my parents, I told my family, I then told my friends, and then when I was ready, about 2 years later, I came out at work. I think the most surprising thing about coming out was the fact that I didn't lose my family. I come from a very conservative religious family, and the truth is it took some time for my family to adjust. But here we are 15 years later, and if I'm honest, I've never been closer to my parents, and just quietly I think there are times when my parents prefer Kevin than me, so that was one surprise. And I think coming out of work was a surprise for me too. I think I had catastrophized it so much in my mind. I think the biggest surprise was that no one actually cared. I think it was a far greater issue in my head than it was in reality. And additionally, it wasn't a career-limiting move, which I thought it may have been, to be honest. In fact, it sounds kind of corny, but I do actually think that being gay has made me a better person and a better leader, because I can sympathise with my team. I've been through some things and some hardships, and I'm there to support my team through a culture of care. Yeah, I think all this matters because inclusion and diversity is at the heart of our values at BHP. We all know that greater diversity leads to greater productivity. And I can speak from personal experience that if you can bring your whole self to work, it can be so empowering. Not having to edit out certain details of your life means that you can bring your full 100% of your capacity and your energy and your mindset, and you can operate at your maximum potential. And I just think if everyone was able to operate at their full potential and bring their whole self to work, irrespective of whether they're LGBT or what their ethnicity or race may be, or what their religious affiliation may be, then BHP would be a so much better place for all of us. Yeah, Jasper has such an important role within BHP for LGBT plus people, not only for people that identify as such, but for allies. I think it's a safe place for all of us to come to work, to bring our whole selves to work and talk to peers that are in the same position as us, and to provide that support to each other. Because all of us come from different backgrounds, different circumstances, and our coming out process and story is different. But I think, you know, having a safe place to come and a community to be part of is very important. Yeah, the advice I give to LGBT people is to take your time. I think there's no right time for you to come out, and I think do it when you're ready. You know, for me, I was 25. I have friends that were a lot younger and a lot older, but I think you need to do it on your own terms. You need to do it when you're ready, and do it in a way that suits you. Just be supportive, and don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, I think sometimes we think that there are some sacred cows, or that we can't ask certain questions, but we're all humans. You know, ask the questions, have a dialogue, and be supportive. And I think the more you ask questions and the more you can show your support, the more that the better off that person will be.